Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when the world will try to tell you what you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to act, where you're supposed to go. It's easy to fall into the trap of listening to those voices, to let the noise drown out your inner calling. But there's one thing that can never be taken from you: your will, your strength, and your ability to walk alone when necessary. Today we are here to talk about a woman who walks alone. A woman who refuses to let fear, doubt, or the expectations of others hold her back. The truth is, there are countless women throughout history who have had to walk alone, whether by choice or circumstance, and they've done so with grace, courage, and determination. It is this spirit we honor today. A woman who walks alone doesn't mean she is weak or incapable. Far from it. In fact, it takes a special kind of strength to stand tall when the world feels like it's pushing you down, to keep moving forward when the path is unclear. The road ahead may not always be smooth, and there will be moments when you feel like giving up. But in those moments, remember this: it is precisely when you stand alone that you find out who you really are. In a world that often tells us to follow the crowd, to conform to what others expect of us, the woman who walks alone says, "I will go my own way." She understands that the journey may be tough, but that's where her true power lies, in the ability to choose her path, even if it's a lonely one. There's a saying that the greatest growth comes from stepping out of your comfort zone. Well, walking alone sometimes is the ultimate way to step out. It's in those moments when you feel isolated, when the only voice you can rely on is your own, that you find out just how much power you truly have. You'll learn things about yourself you never knew before, about your resilience, your resolve, and your capacity to rise after falling. The journey of walking alone is never a straight line. It's filled with setbacks, challenges, and doubts. It can be a journey through loneliness, through pain, and sometimes through heartache. But let me tell you, every step you take on that path is a step toward your own greatness. You may feel like you're walking through darkness, but remember, it's in the dark that you learn to see with your heart, with your soul. The world outside may be chaotic, but within you lies a quiet strength that no one can ever take away. And let's be clear, walking alone doesn't mean walking in isolation forever. It doesn't mean that you'll never find companions on your journey. It doesn't mean you have to do it all by yourself, carrying the weight of the world. What it means is that you've learned how to stand tall, how to stand firm, when everyone else might be running the opposite direction. When you know who you are, when you know what you stand for, when you know where you're going, that's when you find the courage to stand alone if needed. Because you know you're not really alone, you're connected to something far greater than yourself. This journey is not about being independent in the sense of being separate or isolated. It's about being strong enough to trust yourself, to rely on your own wisdom, to know that you are enough. When you're confident in yourself, it doesn't matter whether there's a crowd around you or not. You understand that the most important voice you can listen to is your own. The woman who walks alone also knows the power of silence. She knows that sometimes the best way to hear God, to hear her own heart, is to step away from the noise of the world. She doesn't need the approval of others to move forward. Her strength comes from a deeper place. She understands that in silence she can reflect, recharge, and make the decisions that will lead her to her destiny. It is in these quiet moments that the greatest clarity is often found. The world can be loud, but the most powerful moments are often the ones where you stand in stillness, listening to what your soul is telling you. But here's the thing, that doesn't mean the woman who walks alone doesn't face challenges. In fact, it's often the opposite. The woman who chooses to walk alone often faces the harshest criticism, the toughest obstacles. People may question her choices, doubt her decisions, or tell her that she's making a mistake. But the beauty of walking alone is that she doesn't need validation from anyone else. She knows who she is, she knows her worth, and she knows that she is capable of overcoming whatever comes her way. Every woman who walks alone has her own story, her own battles. But there's one thing that unites them all: the belief that they are worthy of greatness. And that belief doesn't come from outside forces, it comes from within. It comes from the inner strength that says, "I am enough." When you understand that you are enough, you stop seeking validation from the world. You stop letting other people's opinions dictate your choices. You trust yourself to make the right decisions, even if it means taking the less traveled path. Now, I want you to think about the women who walked alone in history. Think about the trailblazers, the leaders, the warriors, those who dared to challenge the norms of their time, to break barriers and shatter ceilings. Many of them walked alone, at least for a time, because they were visionaries. They saw something greater than the world could see, and they believed in it with everything they had. They knew that their journey might not be easy, but they had the courage to step out anyway. They were strong because they understood that greatness doesn't come from following the crowd. It comes from stepping into your own purpose, regardless of how difficult or uncertain the road ahead may seem. In your life, you too will encounter moments when you must stand alone. You may have to make difficult decisions that no one else will understand or agree with. You may have to walk a path that no one else has walked before. It won't always be easy. There will be times when you'll doubt yourself. There will be times when the world will try to make you believe that you're not enough, that you can't do it on your own, that you need someone else to make you complete. But you don't need anyone to validate your worth. Your worth is already within you. The woman who walks alone does so because she understands that no one else can walk her path for her. She knows that the journey is hers to make. And when you walk with purpose, when you walk with conviction, when you walk with courage, you may find that the path becomes clearer, the obstacles become smaller, and the weight becomes lighter. And when you find your way, when you reach your destination, you will look back and realize that walking alone wasn't a burden, it was a gift. It was the process that allowed you to grow, to evolve, to discover the depth of your strength. So I say to you today, if you find yourself walking alone, do not fear it, embrace it. You know that you are capable of more than you could ever imagine. Know that your journey is leading you to something greater, something bigger than yourself. Keep walking, even when it's hard. Keep walking, even when the road is unclear. Keep walking, because every step you take brings you closer to your true power. You are not just walking alone, you are walking toward greatness. Keep moving forward. Keep pushing through. And one day you'll look back and see that walking alone was the very thing that led you to life you were always meant to live. The speech emphasizes the power of a woman to stand tall and move forward, even when walking alone. It highlights the importance of trusting oneself, relying on inner strength, and not seeking validation from others. Walking alone doesn't signify weakness, but rather courage and resilience. The speech portrays solitude as a time for personal growth, reflection, and finding clarity, qualities that contribute to true empowerment. The speech acknowledges that walking alone can bring challenges such as criticism and doubt from others. It encourages women to trust their own vision and decisions, even when others question or misunderstand their choices. The speech draws inspiration from historical trailblazers, women who broke barriers and stood alone at times to challenge societal norms and achieve greatness, reinforcing the idea that walking alone can lead to extraordinary outcomes. The path to greatness. Ultimately, the speech conveys that walking alone can lead to self-discovery and greatness. It is not a burden, but a transformative journey that allows a woman to unlock her true potential and realize her purpose. Inner strength and self-reliance are foundational concepts that resonate deeply within the journey of personal growth, especially for women who walk alone. These qualities are often born out of necessity, but can be nurtured through conscious effort and reflection. To walk alone, to stand firm in the face of adversity, one must first cultivate the understanding that the power to overcome challenges, to achieve greatness, and to navigate life's difficulties lies within oneself. There is an undeniable beauty in realizing that the greatest support and encouragement come not from external sources, but from deep within. Inner strength is not merely about being tough or resilient in the face of hardship. It's about recognizing the quiet power within you to keep moving forward when the world around you seems to be crumbling. It's the ability to find balance amidst chaos, the courage to pursue dreams despite doubt, and the wisdom to trust your instincts even when it feels like you're walking in the dark. Self-reliance is intricately tied to this inner strength. It is the realization that while community and support networks are invaluable, the primary responsibility for shaping one's destiny falls squarely on one's own shoulders. Self-reliance means acknowledging that you are the architect of your life, and your choices, your actions, and your mindset determine the course of your journey. It's about understanding that while external factors may influence you, they do not control you. You have the ability to choose how to respond to the world around you. Self-reliance is an empowering force, one that allows you to take ownership of your life, make decisions that align with your values, and trust in your capacity to handle whatever comes your way. To embrace self-reliance, you must let go of the need for constant approval, the fear of judgment, and the desire to please others. It is about finding peace in your own decisions, in knowing that your choices are guided by your values, experiences, and inner wisdom. For women especially, this sense of inner strength and self-reliance can be particularly important. Society has long told women that their worth is often tied to the approval or validation of others, whether it be from a partner, family, or society at large. From a young age, many women are conditioned to believe that they must seek external validation to be worthy or successful. This narrative can create a dependence on others' opinions and create self-doubt when that validation is not readily available. However, the real power comes when a woman stops seeking approval and instead learns to validate herself. It's the recognition that you do not need to seek external recognition to feel worthy, to feel capable, or to feel that you have value. When you begin to cultivate self-reliance, you are no longer tethered to the opinions or judgments of others. You are free to make choices that align with your own goals, dreams, and principles, regardless of how others may view you. True inner strength often arises during times of adversity. It is when life feels most uncertain that we are presented with an opportunity to build this strength. When faced with challenges, many women have no choice but to rely on themselves, and through this they discover the incredible resilience within them. There's something powerful about confronting obstacles head-on, knowing that no matter how difficult the circumstances may seem, you are capable of navigating them. This doesn't mean that you won't experience fear or doubt. It simply means that you have the courage to move forward anyway, even in the face of uncertainty. Inner strength is developed through these experiences of pushing through difficult moments, of learning to trust that even if you don't have all the answers, you will find a way. It is forged in the quiet moments when you make the decision to keep going, even when everything around you may suggest that stopping is the easier option. One of the most critical aspects of inner strength is resilience, the ability to bounce back after setbacks, to rise after falling. Life will inevitably bring challenges, but it is how you respond to those challenges that defines your strength. It's in the way you choose to rise after failure, how you choose to learn from mistakes, and how you persist even when things don't go as planned. Resilience doesn't mean never feeling pain or disappointment. It means having the capacity to experience these emotions and yet continue forward. It's about refusing to let your setbacks define you, understanding that they are simply stepping stones on the path to your success. Every failure, every mistake, and every heartache is an opportunity to build resilience, to build strength that will carry you through future trials. Self-reliance and inner strength also encompass the ability to set boundaries. A woman who walks alone understands the importance of protecting her peace, of saying no when necessary, and of not allowing others to dictate her worth or her time. It is a sign of strength to know when to step back, to detach from toxic environments or relationships that drain your energy. Learning to say no is often one of the most empowering actions a person can take. By doing so, you create space in your life for what truly matters: your goals, your dreams, your mental health, and your well-being. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love and self-respect, signaling to the world that you are worthy of being treated with kindness, dignity, and care. To truly rely on yourself, you must also embrace vulnerability. This may seem contradictory, but vulnerability is a powerful aspect of inner strength. It is the willingness to acknowledge your weaknesses, your fears, and your insecurities, and yet still move forward. Being vulnerable means allowing yourself to feel deeply, to experience the full spectrum of human emotion, but also not letting these emotions define your ability to take action. Vulnerability is not about weakness. It is a testament to your courage and your authenticity. It's in being vulnerable that you truly connect with your inner self. And it's through this connection that you find the strength to keep going. Developing self-reliance doesn't mean that you never seek help or guidance from others. On the contrary, it's important to recognize that no one can go through life completely alone. Self-reliance is about understanding your own needs, your own limits, and your own abilities. It's about knowing when to ask for help and being willing to do so, but also having the wisdom to know that your success or happiness does not depend solely on the help of others. Self-reliance is the recognition that you are the most important advocate for your own life, and while others may offer support, you are ultimately the one responsible for creating the life you want. At its core, self-reliance is about empowerment. It is about finding the courage to step into your own power, to trust yourself and your decisions, and to pursue your goals with confidence. It's about knowing that you have the capacity to handle whatever challenges may come your way. When you trust in your own ability to navigate life's ups and downs, you create a foundation of inner peace and stability that no external force can shake. In the journey of life, there will be moments when the world seems to question you, when others may doubt your abilities, when you may even doubt yourself. But it is in these moments when you feel most uncertain that you must tap into your inner strength. It is in these moments that you realize how capable you truly are. By walking alone, by learning to rely on yourself, you discover a depth of strength and resilience that you never knew existed. And it is through this strength that you not only survive the challenges you face, but you thrive, and ultimately you become the woman you were always meant to be. Embracing the journey of solitude is one of the most transformative experiences a person can go through. It is not simply about being alone, but about understanding the power and wisdom that comes from being with yourself in your own space without the distractions or expectations of others. It is in solitude that we can reconnect with our truest self, away from the noise of the world and the opinions of others. Solitude is not something to fear, as many do. Instead, it is an opportunity to cultivate strength, find clarity, and discover your purpose. In embracing it, you find that it is often in those quiet moments when you uncover your deepest truths. And it is in solitude that you learn to trust your own voice. When the world moves too quickly and the demands of life seem overwhelming, solitude offers a refuge, a chance to retreat, reset, and rediscover who you are outside of the roles that society places on you. Often we are so caught up in the hustle, so focused on meeting others' needs and expectations, that we lose sight of our own. In solitude, we are given the opportunity to reclaim our power, to focus solely on our own thoughts, desires, and goals. It's in these moments of quiet that we can evaluate what truly matters and decide how we want to move forward, unencumbered by the opinions or distractions of the outside world. Many women in particular are socialized to be constantly giving, to be caregivers, nurturers, and people pleasers. While these qualities are beautiful and necessary in many ways, they can sometimes lead to burnout, neglecting one's own needs in favor of others. Solitude teaches us the importance of balance. It is not selfish to spend time alone. Rather, it is essential to our well-being. By embracing solitude, we learn how to care for ourselves first, to fill our own cups so that we can better give to others. It teaches that in order to show up fully in the world, we must first be fully present with ourselves. At first, the journey of solitude may feel uncomfortable. In a world that values constant connection, productivity, and social engagement, being alone can sometimes feel like an invitation to loneliness. However, loneliness is different from solitude. Loneliness is the ache of feeling disconnected from others, while solitude is the choice to be alone for the sake of reflection and growth. Solitude gives us the opportunity to embrace our own company, to enjoy our own thoughts, and to be comfortable in our own skin. It's in these moments that we often find peace, as we are no longer seeking validation or approval from others, but instead are looking inward for answers. The beauty of solitude lies in its capacity to foster self-reflection. In solitude, you are able to slow down and examine your life without external distractions. You can reflect on your past, learn from your mistakes, and identify the areas where you need to grow. It is in solitude that we often have our best epiphanies, the moments of clarity that change the course of our lives. By embracing solitude, we can better understand our desires, goals, and the values that guide us. It is the space where you can ask yourself the hard questions and find the answers that are true to your heart, not influenced by the noise of society or the expectations of others. Moreover, solitude helps us develop self-sufficiency. When you are alone, you cannot rely on anyone else to solve your problems or comfort you during difficult times. You are forced to confront challenges head-on and rely on your own resources, both internal and external, to navigate them. It's in these moments that we realize just how resilient we are. We come to understand that we are capable of more than we initially thought, that we have the strength within us to handle life's obstacles. Solitude, in this sense, becomes a training ground for independence and emotional fortitude. It teaches us how to stand on our own, how to trust our intuition, and how to keep moving forward, even when it feels like we are walking alone. Another profound aspect of embracing solitude is its ability to spark creativity. When we are constantly surrounded by other people, when we are always engaged in activities or conversations, it can be difficult to tap into our own creativity. Solitude, however, provides the space for new ideas to emerge. It allows our minds to wander freely, to think in ways we might not otherwise consider. In solitude, there are no distractions, no expectations, and no limitations. It is the perfect environment for inspiration to flourish. This is why so many artists, writers, and thinkers have long sought solitude for moments of creativity and innovation. It is in the quiet that our deepest, most authentic thoughts can surface, and we are given the chance to nurture them. Embracing solitude also allows us to reconnect with our passions and dreams. In the hustle of everyday life, it's easy to forget what truly lights us up. We get caught up in the obligations and responsibilities of life, and before we know it, we have set aside the things that once brought us joy. Solitude gives us the chance to rediscover those passions. When you spend time alone, you can reawaken your creative side, reconnect with the things that make you feel alive, and give yourself permission to pursue the dreams that are uniquely yours. It is an invitation to return to what you love without judgment or restriction. In solitude, we also develop a deeper sense of gratitude. When we are surrounded by others and caught up in the busyness of life, we often take things for granted. We forget to appreciate the simple blessings we have. But when we are alone, we are given the opportunity to reflect on the beauty of the present moment and the richness of our lives. Solitude allows us to tune into our inner voice and appreciate the small, everyday moments that often go unnoticed. It cultivates a sense of mindfulness that deepens our connection to the world around us. One of the greatest gifts of embracing solitude is the ability to become your true self. In a world that constantly tells us how to look, how to act, and what to believe, solitude offers a rare opportunity to reconnect with who we really are without outside influences. It's the time to strip away the layers we have built up over the years, the masks we wear to fit in, the roles we play to meet others' expectations. In solitude, we find the space to let go of who we think we should be and begin to embrace who we truly are. This journey of self-discovery is both freeing and empowering, as it allows us to live authentically, unapologetically, and with purpose. While the journey of solitude may seem intimidating at first, it is ultimately an act of self-love and self-care. By embracing solitude, you are making a commitment to yourself, to your growth, your well-being, and your happiness. It's a reminder that your own company is enough, that you are complete as you are, and that you don't need anyone else's approval to feel worthy or loved. Solitude is not a punishment, but a privilege, one that offers endless opportunities for healing, reflection, and personal growth. So, as you walk this path of solitude, don't fear the quiet moments or the times when you find yourself alone. Embrace them. See them as an invitation to become the best version of yourself. Understand that solitude is where your true power lies, where your creativity and clarity emerge, and where you can reconnect with your most authentic self. Through the journey of solitude, you come to understand that you are not just surviving, you are thriving. Overcoming doubt and external criticism is one of the most powerful, yet challenging aspects of personal growth. It's a battle that all of us face, but for many, it can feel like an endless cycle of self-doubt and external judgments. The reality is that doubt and criticism are inevitable parts of life. Whether it comes from the people around us, society at large, or even our inner voices, the pressure to conform or to meet certain expectations can be overwhelming. However, it is how we respond to these forces that define who we are and shape the trajectory of our lives. Learning to overcome doubt and external criticism is not just about silencing the negative voices, but about cultivating the inner strength and confidence to trust yourself, to stay true to your values, and to move forward with conviction, regardless of what others may think or say. Doubt, especially self-doubt, can be crippling. It often creeps in when we are on the breakthrough, when we are about to take a step towards something meaningful. It can stem from insecurity or fear of failure, and it feeds on our deepest fears. The problem with doubt is that it clouds our judgment and often distorts our perceptions of reality. It makes us second-guess our decisions, question our abilities, and feel paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice. This internal struggle can prevent us from taking the necessary risks to reach our full potential. We begin to believe the negative voices in our heads, and in doing so, we limit ourselves. Doubt tells us that we are not good enough, not capable enough, and not worthy of success. It creates a barrier between us and our dreams, trapping us in a cycle of inaction and hesitation. One of the first steps in overcoming doubt is to acknowledge its presence without allowing it to define us. Doubt is a natural human experience. Everyone faces it at some point. It is a reflection of our vulnerability and our awareness of the challenges ahead. Instead of fighting against it, we must learn to sit with it, to examine it, and ask ourselves why we are doubting in the first place. Is it because of a past failure? Is it because of a lack of confidence in our abilities? Or is it because of fear of judgment from others? By identifying the root cause of our doubt, we can begin to address it more effectively. Recognizing that doubt is simply a feeling, not a fact, can help us detach from it and prevent it from taking control. The next step in overcoming doubt is to reframe our thinking. Rather than viewing doubt as something negative or debilitating, we can choose to see it as a sign of growth. Doubt often arises when we are stepping out of our comfort zone, when we are embarking on a new journey, or when we are pushing ourselves to achieve something we have never done before. Instead of allowing doubt to hold us back, we can use it as a signal that we are on the right path, that we are challenging ourselves and breaking free from the limitations we have placed on ourselves. In this light, doubt becomes a marker of progress rather than a barrier to success. To overcome doubt, we must also cultivate self-compassion. It is easy to be harsh with ourselves when we are uncertain or facing difficulties, but this only adds to the cycle of self-doubt. Learning to be kind to ourselves during times of uncertainty is crucial. We must understand that we are not perfect, and we do not need to be flawless to be worthy of success. The mistakes are part of the journey, and they do not define our worth. Instead of focusing on our perceived flaws, we must focus on our strengths, our resilience, and our ability to overcome challenges. Self-compassion is about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a close friend who is going through a tough time. When we embrace self-compassion, we give ourselves permission to make mistakes, learn from them, and keep moving forward. Alongside self-doubt, external criticism is another powerful force that can undermine our confidence. The opinions of others, especially when they are negative or judgmental, can have a profound impact on our self-perception. Whether it's a comment from a colleague, a judgment from a friend or family member, or the scrutiny we face on social media, external criticism can create a narrative that we start to internalize. We may begin to doubt our worth or our abilities based on someone else's opinion of us. This is particularly challenging because criticism is often external, and it can feel like it's coming from a place of authority. When people criticize us, we often feel the need to defend ourselves, to explain our actions, or to justify our choices. However, it's important to remember that not all criticism is valid and not all opinions are worth internalizing. The key to overcoming external criticism is to develop a strong sense of self-awareness and self-worth. When we are rooted in who we are and confident in our values and abilities, external criticism has less power over us. We must learn to differentiate between constructive feedback, which is meant to help us grow, and destructive criticism, which is designed to tear us down. Constructive feedback is given with the intent of helping us improve, whereas destructive criticism often reflects the critic's own insecurities, biases, or unmet needs. Understanding the difference between the two allows us to process criticism more effectively. We can embrace the feedback that is valuable and reject the criticism that is not aligned with our truth. It is also important to remember that external criticism often says more about the critic than it does about us. People who criticize others are sometimes projecting their own fears, frustrations, or insecurities onto those around them. Rather than taking their criticism personally, we can choose to see it as a reflection of their perspective, not a reflection of our worth. By understanding that criticism is often more about the other person than it is about us, we can detach from it and avoid letting it affect our self-esteem. This doesn't mean we ignore all criticism. Rather, it means we become more discerning about which opinions truly matter and which ones should be left behind. Another powerful tool for overcoming doubt and external criticism is to surround ourselves with supportive people who believe in us. Having a strong support system can help counterbalance the negative voices we encounter, both internal and external. When we surround ourselves with people who uplift us, who encourage us, and who remind us of our worth, it becomes easier to ignore the negativity that comes from others. A supportive network can help us gain perspective, offer constructive feedback, and provide emotional strength during difficult times. However, we must also learn to be selective about who we allow into our inner circle. Not all relationships are healthy, and not everyone's opinion is worth valuing. We must prioritize relationships that build us up, that challenge us to be our best selves, and that inspire us to grow. To overcome doubt and external criticism, we must also cultivate a mindset of resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to keep going despite challenges, and to remain steadfast in our commitment to our goals. It's the refusal to let obstacles or negativity define our journey. Resilience is a mindset that allows us to see failure as a learning opportunity rather than a defeat. When we embrace resilience, we understand that setbacks are not the end of the road, but a natural part of the process. They are stepping stones that lead us closer to our goals. Resilience helps us stay focused on our vision and our purpose, no matter how much doubt or criticism we face along the way. Finally, it is important to embrace the idea that we are always evolving. Perfection is not the goal, progress is. There will always be moments of doubt and there will always be criticism, but they do not define who we are. What defines us is our ability to keep moving forward, to keep learning, and to keep growing. When we accept that we are constantly evolving, we give ourselves permission to make mistakes, to change course, and to embrace the process of becoming. Growth is not linear and it doesn't happen overnight, but with each step forward, we become stronger, more resilient, and more confident in our ability to overcome doubt and criticism. Overcoming doubt and external criticism is a journey that requires patience, self-compassion, and resilience. It is a journey that challenges us to trust ourselves, to stay true to our values, and to keep moving forward, regardless of the obstacles we face. While we cannot control the opinions of others or the doubts that arise within us, we can control how we respond. By cultivating self-awareness, surrounding ourselves with supportive people, and embracing resilience, we can overcome doubt and criticism and continue on the path toward our goals with confidence and conviction. Throughout history, there have been countless women who, against the odds, walked alone. They dared to chart their own paths in a world that often sought to confine them within the limits of societal expectations. These women, despite the challenges they faced, did not bow to the pressures of the time. Their lives are powerful examples of resilience, courage, and the determination to follow one's inner calling, even when the road ahead seemed uncertain. These women were pioneers, breaking barriers, defying norms, and leaving a legacy that would inspire generations to come. They show us that the journey of walking alone is not one of loneliness, but of strength, self-discovery, and transformation. One of the most iconic figures in this regard is Joan of Arc, a young French peasant girl who in the 15th century defied the expectations of her time. At just 17 years old, she took up arms and led the French army to key victories during the 100 Years' War. Born into a time when women were largely relegated to domestic roles and were not expected to be involved in warfare, Joan's decision to follow the voices she claimed to hear from saints led her to not only challenge her community's beliefs, but to take up leadership in a battle that would change the course of French history. Walking alone, Joan rose above the gender constraints of her era and became a symbol of faith, courage, and perseverance. Though she was eventually captured and executed at the age of 19, her legacy lived on. And she was canonized as a saint by the Catholic Church in 1920. Joan of Arc walked alone because she believed in a cause greater than herself. And her journey serves as a reminder that standing by one's convictions can change the world. Another historical example of a woman who walked alone is Harriet Tubman, a woman whose name became synonymous with freedom. Born into slavery in the early 19th century, Tubman escaped to the North at the age of 29, but her story didn't end there. Despite the immense risks, she returned to the South repeatedly to guide other enslaved people to freedom through the Underground Railroad. Tubman didn't just walk alone in the literal sense, she walked alone in a society that sought to oppress her and countless others. Her courage and determination were unmatched, and the perilous journey she undertook to lead slaves to freedom demonstrated an unshakable commitment to justice. Tubman's story is one of independence and courage, but also of a deep sense of moral duty. She could have chosen to live her life in peace after her escape, but she chose to return to the danger of slavery because she could not ignore the suffering of others. Her life was an embodiment of strength, and she became a beacon of hope for all those seeking freedom. In a very different realm of history, the life of Amelia Earhart provides another example of a woman who walked alone. Earhart was an aviator who made history as the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean in 1932. She achieved many milestones in aviation, but it was her attempt to fly around the world in 1937 that ultimately led to her disappearance, leaving behind a mystery that has endured for decades. Amelia Earhart was not just an aviator, she was a symbol of determination in the face of adversity. At a time when women were seldom encouraged to pursue careers in science, technology, and engineering, Earhart made her mark in a male-dominated field. She was not merely content to follow the path laid before her, but chose instead to challenge the conventions of her time, refusing to be confined by the limits placed on women in the early 20th century. Her daring flight symbolized her relentless pursuit of dreams and the courage to push beyond the boundaries that society set for her. Even as her plane disappeared, leaving the world wondering what happened to her, the spirit of Amelia Earhart remained as a testament to the strength of a woman walking alone in pursuit of a dream that many thought impossible. Clara Barton, the founder of the American Red Cross, is another example of a woman who walked alone in a time when women were not always welcome in the public sphere. In the 1860s, during the American Civil War, Barton served as a nurse and provided medical care to soldiers, even though women were not officially allowed to take on these roles at the time. Barton's decision to leave behind her comfortable life and dedicate herself to helping others was an act of defiance against the expectations of her gender. She not only cared for soldiers on the battlefield, but also worked tirelessly to provide assistance to those who were suffering from the effects of war. After the war, Barton continued her work by founding the American Red Cross, an organization that would go on to save countless lives in times of war, disaster, and disease. Clara Barton walked alone because she had an unwavering belief in the value of human life and the importance of selfless service. Her journey was not one of fame or recognition, but one of profound impact on the lives of others. By choosing to walk alone, she became an enduring figure of compassion, resilience, and leadership. In a completely different context, the story of Virginia Woolf shows another form of solitary strength. Woolf, an English writer and one of the most significant modernist authors of the 20th century, faced great personal struggles with mental illness and societal pressure. At the time, the literary world was dominated by men, and the personal expectations placed on women were often stifling. Yet Woolf was able to carve out her own place in the literary world through her writing, often exploring themes of identity, time, and consciousness in ways that had never been done before. Her work challenged social norms and explored the complexities of human experience. As a woman, she walked alone, in many ways isolated by her mental health struggles, marginalized by the literary world, and deeply aware of the limitations placed on women in society. Despite these challenges, she produced works that continue to influence writers and thinkers today, demonstrating that even in solitude, one can create beauty and provoke thought. In the world of politics, women like Indira Gandhi and Margaret Thatcher also walked alone, albeit in different contexts. Indira Gandhi, the first female prime minister of India, faced enormous challenges in a world that was still deeply patriarchal. She was the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, India's first prime minister, but she was often criticized for her leadership style, which was considered too authoritarian. Despite the criticism, she was able to maintain a strong position in Indian politics, leading the country through a period of significant change, including the Bangladesh Liberation War and the Indian Emergency. Gandhi's ability to lead in a world where women were often excluded from political power showed immense resilience. She may have walked alone in her leadership, but her ability to overcome the gendered expectations of her time made her one of the most influential political leaders in history. Similarly, Margaret Thatcher, the first female prime minister of the United Kingdom, also defied expectations and walked alone through the complexities of political life. Her rise to power was fraught with challenges, not only because of her political stance, but also because she was a woman in a world dominated by men. Known as the Iron Lady, Thatcher was often criticized for her firm and at times uncompromising approach to governance. She faced criticism from all sides within her own party and from the public, but she persisted, leaving a lasting impact on the UK and the world. Thatcher's life shows that walking alone often involves making tough decisions and standing by them, even when they are unpopular. Like other women who walked alone, she demonstrated that true leadership is not about popularity, but about staying true to one's convictions, regardless of external criticism. Closer to home, the story of Malala Yousafzai is one of incredible courage and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. Born in Pakistan, Malala's advocacy for girls' education was radical in a society where many girls were denied access to schooling. At the age of 15, Malala was shot in the head by the Taliban for speaking out about the importance of education for girls. Despite the attack, she did not back down. Instead, she continued her advocacy and eventually became the youngest ever Nobel Prize laureate. Malala's story is one of immense personal bravery and defiance, standing up not just for herself, but for countless girls around the world who were denied the right to education. She walked alone because she believed in the transformative power of education, even when it came at great personal risk. Her voice, once silenced by the Taliban, has now become a beacon of hope for millions of girls who are striving for a better future. These women from different walks of life show that walking alone does not mean being solitary in spirit. It means daring to take the path less traveled, trusting in one's own strength, and staying true to a vision of a better world. Their journeys remind us that the challenges of walking alone are often the very things that shape us, that strengthen us, and that help us achieve greatness. Each of them, in their own way, carved a space for themselves in history, not because they followed the crowd, but because they had the courage to walk alone. The path to greatness is often a winding one, filled with obstacles, challenges, and moments of self-doubt. It is not a path that can be mapped out in a straight line, nor is it a journey for the faint of heart. The road to greatness demands resilience, an unwavering belief in oneself, and the courage to continue even when the destination seems far out of reach. Many people envision greatness as something reserved for the few, those who are born with extraordinary talent or resources. However, true greatness is not confined to a select group of individuals. It is accessible to anyone who dares to dream, who embraces the struggles along the way, and who refuses to give up on their vision. The path to greatness is not defined by perfection, but by the willingness to overcome adversity, to learn from failure, and to rise again with each setback. Greatness does not happen overnight. It is not the result of a single triumph or accomplishment, but rather the culmination of many small decisions, actions, and lessons learned. The journey begins with a vision, an idea, or a dream. This vision might be vague at first, unclear, or undefined, but it serves as the spark that ignites the fire of ambition. This vision becomes the North Star that guides the individual, providing direction even when the road is difficult to follow. The first step on the path to greatness is having the courage to pursue that vision, even when the odds seem stacked against you. It is about committing to a goal that may seem impossible and believing, despite the doubts and setbacks, that it is worth striving for. As the journey progresses, it quickly becomes clear that greatness is not handed out easily. Success is rarely the result of pure luck or fate. It is earned through hard work, sacrifice, and a willingness to push oneself beyond what is comfortable. The challenges that arise along the way are not signs that greatness is unattainable, but rather they are opportunities for growth. It is in the face of adversity that an individual is tested, and the way in which they respond determines whether they will continue on the path or abandon it altogether. Many are tempted to give up when the going gets tough. The path may feel long and exhausting, and the finish line may appear to be an impossible distance away. Yet it is those who persevere, who continue moving forward despite the challenges, who ultimately achieve greatness. In order to reach greatness, one must be willing to fail. Failure is not the end of the journey, but rather an integral part of it. Every failure carries with it a lesson, a key insight into what needs to be changed, improved, or refined. It is easy to be discouraged by failure, to see it as a sign of weakness or inadequacy. However, it is through failure that individuals learn their most valuable lessons. The greatest minds, the most successful people, have all experienced failure at some point. The key is not to be defined by failure, but to use it as a stepping stone, a chance to grow stronger and more resilient. Each time we fail, we gain a better understanding of what works and what doesn't, which brings us one step closer to achieving our goal.